Listen carefully, because I'm about to expose a truth most women will never admit out loud. When she cheats, the betrayal isn't over, it's just the beginning of a darker game, manipulation. She'll twist guilt into charm, lies into love, and you won't even see it happening. That's why you need to stay sharp. If you want the kind of raw truths men aren't supposed to hear, hit subscribe right now, smash that like button, and tell me in the comments what city you're watching from. Let's see just how far this truth travels. Sign 1. Sudden transparency. You probably think honesty is always a good thing, but what if I told you that sometimes the loudest honesty is actually a disguise? After cheating, many wives suddenly flip a switch and act overly transparent, like they're auditioning for the role of the perfect wife with nothing to hide. She'll casually leave her phone face up on the counter, acting like she doesn't care if you glance at the screen. But what you don't see is the hour she spent deleting messages, changing contact names, or wiping out entire chat threads before dinner. One man told me his wife started narrating her entire day like a bad podcast. I went to the gym at 6, then grocery store, then had coffee with Melissa. Oh, and you know Melissa's dog is sick again. A flood of pointless details that sounded rehearsed. Why? Because lies always need extra wallpaper to cover the cracks. This is the paradox of sudden transparency. Before, she might have been private, even a little guarded with her phone or her schedule. Now, she's practically shoving her calendar in your face, offering information you never asked for. She'll send random updates during the day, photos of her lunch, check-ins from the office, long texts about errands. At first glance, it looks sweet, but pay attention to the timing. The lunch photo. It's a stock image grabbed off Instagram. The office update. It comes hours after she was supposedly at a late meeting. Here's the psychology. Guilt convinces her she must prove she's innocent. Real innocence doesn't try this hard. Authentic honesty is calm, natural, and effortless. But her sudden openness feels exaggerated, almost performative, because it is. It's theater, designed to lower your suspicion before you even think to raise it. Watch how she over-explains the small stuff. If she says she was at the grocery store, you'll hear the aisle numbers, the brands she almost bought, the checkout clerk's eye color. Sounds harmless, until you notice the parts she doesn't explain. Why she didn't answer your call for 2 hours. Why her gas tank is mysteriously lower. Why her gym sessions suddenly take twice as long. Men, don't be fooled. Sudden transparency isn't a gift of honesty. It's a smokescreen of manipulation. And the more she flaunts her innocence, the more likely she's trying to bury her guilt. But pretending to be open is just her warm-up act. Wait until you see how she uses guilt against you in the next sign. Sign 2. Reverse guilt trips. Here's the twist that catches most men off guard. After betrayal, many wives don't drown in guilt quietly. They weaponize it. Instead of feeling sorry, she flips the script and makes you the problem. Suddenly, the woman who used to laugh at your quirks now criticizes everything you do, as if she's collecting evidence against you. Picture this. You ask why she's been getting home later than usual. Instead of a simple answer, she sighs, shakes her head, and says, "Why are you always doubting me? Don't you ever trust me?" In seconds, your reasonable concern becomes an accusation against your character. You're cast as the paranoid, insecure husband who smothers her with suspicion. Meanwhile, her guilt stays hidden behind the smokescreen of your supposed flaws. This is called reverse guilt tripping. It's not random irritation, it's strategy. Her subconscious can't sit with the fact that she crossed the line, so it creates justifications. If she convinces herself you're neglectful, controlling, or inattentive, then suddenly her cheating feels understandable in her internal story. She can rewrite the marriage script. You failed her first, so her betrayal isn't so bad. And trust me, the details are rarely innocent. I've heard men tell me their wives started attacking their smallest habits. One guy said, "She never cared how I ate before, but now she mocks me at every dinner." Another noticed his wife criticizing how he spent 10 minutes on his phone, while she herself disappeared for hours with hers. The irony isn't lost. but it is intentional. Her goal isn't fairness, it's deflection. You'll also notice her irritability centers around things that remind her of your intimacy. The way you touch her shoulder while watching TV suddenly annoys her. The little jokes you shared for years now aren't funny anymore. Why? Because those moments trigger her guilt. Instead of facing it, she lashes out at you, rewriting your closeness as a source of irritation rather than a reminder of betrayal. Psychologists call this projection and justification, but in plain terms, it's manipulation. She's moving the spotlight off her actions and shining it harshly on you, hoping you'll start doubting yourself instead of questioning her. If you find yourself apologizing for problems you didn't create, feeling like the villain in your own marriage, that's not normal conflict. It's a sign she's rewriting the story to cover her tracks. But guilt isn't her deadliest trick. Wait until you see how she weaponizes sweetness, the kind of affection that feels like love but hides the sharpest blade of all. Sign 3. Love bombing after betrayal. Not every weapon looks like an attack. Some are wrapped in ribbons and kisses. After a betrayal, many wives switch gears completely and flood you with affection. At first, you might think, finally, she's back, she loves me again. But what you're really experiencing is not love, it's a performance. This is the classic manipulation of love bombing. Out of nowhere, she starts cooking your favorite meals, leaving little notes, even planning surprise date nights when she hasn't cared in months. You might even hear her say, "I love you," more times in a week than she did in the last year combined. Sounds wonderful, doesn't it? But ask yourself, why now? Why all at once? I once spoke to a man who was blindsided by this. His wife went from rolling her eyes at his morning routine to packing his gym bag every day, adding protein bars and neatly folded socks as if she were auditioning for Wife of the Year. He thought it was romantic. Only later did he discover she had been compensating for a hidden affair with a coworker. The attention wasn't born of love. It was her guilty conscience trying to balance the scale. Here's how you can spot the difference. Real affection flows naturally. It doesn't need applause. It doesn't appear overnight. And it doesn't feel desperate. Manipulative affection is exaggerated, rushed, and often comes with a hidden agenda. She'll linger after giving you a gift, waiting for your reaction. She'll remind you how thoughtful she's been, like she's checking off boxes on a scorecard. See? Look how good I'm treating you. It's not just the actions, it's the urgency behind them. She needs you to believe she's the perfect wife right now, because if you start suspecting otherwise, her entire cover cracks. That's why her kindness feels slightly off, almost too polished. Her compliments sound rehearsed. Her touch feels like obligation, and her smiles are a little too wide. Don't confuse the surge of sweetness with healing. It's not reconciliation. It's manipulation. And while it might feel comforting in the moment, it's dangerous, because it makes you lower your guard right when you should be paying the closest attention. But affection isn't her final disguise. The most devastating trick is when she turns her suspicion onto you, accusing you of the very things she's guilty of herself. That's when the real psychological warfare begins. Sign 4, paranoid projection. Sometimes the loudest accuser is the one hiding the biggest secret. After cheating, many wives can't handle the weight of their own guilt, so they project it onto you. Suddenly, you're the one under investigation. She starts questioning where you've been, who you've talked to, why you smiled at the waitress, why you worked late. Out of nowhere, a woman who used to trust you completely now treats you like the suspicious one. This is projection in its rawest form. She knows she's been deceptive, so in her mind, it's only logical that you must be too. Her guilt warps her perspective until she sees lies and betrayal everywhere. Every late meeting turns into a potential affair in her imagination. Every casual joke with a coworker looks like flirting through her guilty lens. It's not about what you've done, it's about what she's done and can't face. I once counseled a man whose wife had suddenly become obsessed with his female colleagues. She'd grill him about why a coworker liked his social media post, demand to see his phone, and accuse him of hiding something every time he left it charging in another room. The reality, she was having an ongoing friendship with her personal trainer, morning workouts that weren't about fitness at all. Her paranoia wasn't rooted in his behavior. It was the reflection of her own actions staring back at her. Here's the psychology. Projection serves two purposes. First, it distracts from her guilt. If you're constantly defending yourself, you're too busy to look at her. Second, it creates a twisted sense of justification. If she can convince herself you're guilty too, then her betrayal doesn't seem so unequal. It levels the playing field. Notice the pattern. She'll make accusations that are eerily specific, almost like she's describing her own behavior. If she says, "You must be deleting messages," chances are she's been scrubbing her own phone. If she accuses you of getting too close to a coworker, she might be projecting the closeness she's hiding. Her words become a mirror, reflecting her own actions under the guise of suspicion. The danger here is how disorienting it becomes. You'll start second-guessing yourself, questioning perfectly innocent behavior, and walking on eggshells to avoid her wrath. That's how projection traps you, by making you feel like the guilty one while she hides in plain sight. But projection isn't the endgame. The most chilling manipulation comes when she no longer needs to accuse you at all, because she's already reinventing herself into someone unrecognizable. And that transformation can be even more dangerous. Sign 5. Emotional distance plus rebranding. When guilt becomes unbearable, many wives don't just hide, they reinvent. It's not enough to cover the affair with excuses. She has to rebuild herself into someone new, someone who didn't betray you. That's when you'll see a sudden wave of changes that look positive on the surface, but reek of desperation underneath. She might join a gym after years of avoiding it, start yoga classes, or buy an entire new wardrobe that doesn't match her old style. Out of nowhere, she talks about finding herself, personal growth, or becoming the best version of me. Sounds empowering, right? But ask, why all at once and why now? These aren't steady, thoughtful shifts. They're frantic transformations fueled by shame. One husband told me his wife went from quiet nights at home to joining a book club, volunteering, and switching her diet to vegan, all within a month. He thought she was finally exploring her passions. The truth? She was drowning in guilt from a secret fling with a coworker, and the new lifestyle was her attempt to wash the stain off her conscience. In her mind, if she could become a better person, maybe it would erase what she'd done. Here's the psychology. Guilt whispers that she's unworthy. Reinvention is her way of running from that voice. She's not changing because she truly desires growth. She's changing because she can't stand who she is when she looks in the mirror. It's an escape disguised as self-improvement. But emotional distance creeps in alongside the makeover. Even while she's busy with her new projects, she pulls away from you. Conversations stay shallow. She avoids deep talks about the future, about feelings, about the relationship. You'll notice she can sit next to you but feel miles away, her eyes glazed over with a life you're not part of. Don't let the shiny surface fool you. True growth is steady, rooted, and shared with the partner you love. Guilt-driven rebranding is chaotic, fast, and isolating. If your wife suddenly reinvents herself while building invisible walls between you, it's not transformation, it's manipulation in disguise. And when all that pretending gets too heavy, the mask eventually cracks. That's when the guilt leaks out in ways she can't control, and you'll see the most revealing sign of all. Sign 6, the breakdown confession games. When the mask starts slipping, guilt doesn't stay hidden, it leaks out in strange, unsettling ways. This is when many wives begin playing what I call the confession games. She won't outright admit what she's done, but she'll test the waters with carefully crafted questions and emotional breakdowns designed to measure how safe it would be to come clean. It might start innocently. Over dinner, she asks, "Would you ever forgive someone who made a really big mistake?" Or while watching a movie about betrayal, she turns to you and says, "Do you think people can change after doing something terrible?" These aren't random curiosities. These are reconnaissance missions. She's studying your reaction, memorizing your expressions, searching for clues about whether confession would destroy her or set her free. Then come the breakdowns. Acts of kindness that should bring joy suddenly trigger tears. You bring her flowers, and instead of smiling, she excuses herself to cry in the bathroom. You tell her you love her, and she responds with a vague, shaky, "You don't know how much that means," before shutting down emotionally. She might even mutter half confessions, "You deserve better than me," or "I've been such a terrible wife." What's happening here is the psychological pressure of guilt reaching its boiling point. She can keep up the act in public, she can fake affection, she can project suspicion, but she can't fully control her emotional cracks. Guilt is like a heavy container. Eventually, it bursts at the seams. These moments are the leaks, the proof she can't hold the weight much longer. But don't confuse these near confessions with genuine honesty. Most of the time, she's not really offering the truth. She's gauging how much pain you'd tolerate if she ever revealed it. She's manipulating the moment, using emotion as a shield, making you comfort her without realizing she's the one who caused the storm. If your wife starts asking loaded questions about forgiveness, breaking down at small acts of love, or dropping cryptic statements about being unworthy, don't dismiss it as stress or mood swings. That's guilt clawing its way to the surface, desperate to be noticed. And here's the most chilling part. Once the breakdowns begin, the performance is almost over. Because manipulation after betrayal only lasts so long, before the truth makes itself impossible to hide. See you in the next video.